Hi, this video is to help you work through the lesson on Introduction to Subtraction. You'll want to log into your online school and go to this lesson unit in your Math Plus Blue class. Then you're also going to want to gather your supplies. We need the Math Plus Blue lesson guide, your Math Plus Blue activity book. We also need blocks O, which are your linking cubes. Gather 10 of those. And blocks B, 10 blue and 10 red. A bowl to put them in, and a piece of colored paper, along with a pencil and a scratch piece of paper to write on. Pause this video while you gather your materials and get logged in. Now that you're ready with your materials, turn to your lesson guide, page 287. We're going to look at the terms for subtraction. I'm going to make this section larger on your screen, and we'll return to the online lesson in just a second. So we are looking at operation, part, total. We also call this part, whole, subtract, subtraction, take away, and I also use the terms minus. We're going to show you some of these symbols that we use for subtraction as well. Pause this video while you read through these terms with your student. Now that you've talked over the vocabulary, let's continue with the lesson. Turn the page to 288 in the lesson guide. Gather your linking cubes and your colored piece of paper. This lesson starts with some high numbers. I would like for us to start with lower numbers because I want your student to understand and visualize this subtraction a lot easier. If we start with lower numbers, your student will be able to remember the numbers that we're using because we're going to hide some of the numbers. Let's start with our linking cubes. I'm going to take 2 yellow and 3 green cubes. How many do I have? Let's add them together and find out. So I'm putting them together. That is adding. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I have a whole amount of 5 cubes. When I take away part of that whole, I am subtracting. So I'm going to take away my 2 yellow. So I had 5, and I take 2 away. That is subtracting. And I have 3 left over. Now we can write that. Using our symbols, we have 5 minus or take away 2 equals 3. That is our subtraction symbol. It is a dashed line. All right, let's do another one. I'm going to have 3 yellow and 3 green this time. How many is that all together? That is a whole 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're right. So I have 6. Now I'm going to hide part of this number. I'm going to take away part and not show you how many I took away, but I'm showing you what I have left. If I had 6, what do I have here? That's right, 4. So how many did I take away? 2. You're right. So we have 2 and 4 making 6, or my whole part of 6. Take away the 2, and I have 4 left over. We can write this problem as well. This subtraction problem is 6 minus 2 equals 4. Now work through the examples on page 288 with your student. Pause this video. You're welcome to create a part-whole page like we did here. You can just draw that out on a piece of paper and work through those numbers. If you find your student struggling, start with the lower numbers again like we did here till they can understand and grasp the concept of subtraction, or taking away from the whole. When you finish with those activities, push play and we'll continue. All right, now that you've finished those activities, let's move on to the blue blocks. This activity is on page 289. We have 10 red and 10 blue. I'm going to start again with a lower number than what their example is. So I'm going to use 2 blue and 2 red. So how many do I have? That's right, 4. I have a total of 4. Now take 2 away. How many are left? That's right, 2. You want to also make sure as your student is counting, when we get the bigger numbers and you have bigger number of blocks on your table, that you're counting them and separating them as you counted it so they don't double count a block. So I'm going to count how many I have now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That number is a whole lot easier to count when I pull them apart and separate them from the group I'm counting. Otherwise, we might end up recounting some of them. Make sure that you're doing that when you're using the bowl and possibly this part-whole page as you've added and subtracted larger numbers. Continue working on this activity, counting your numbers, taking away from the whole, and finding out how many you have left. When you're finished, you may return to this video. So let's go to our online activities. You'll find in this lesson they start with a practice skills. So you may take that practice skill assessment. Once you've continued or reached a mastery of 80%, continue on. The lesson online is going to give you counting practice, just like we've done with our blocks. Continue practicing counting, especially high numbers up to 20. That's what this lesson will do. So go to the next and work on this activity with adding or counting, numbers to 20. As your student counts, the computer will count with them. When you finish all 5, you'll continue practicing using the blocks that we have. Make sure your student really understands this concept before you mark it complete. Remember, you can use those lower numbers if they're not understanding with the larger numbers, and keep practicing until they understand with the larger numbers. Once you have finished that, you may mark the lesson complete. I hope this has been a helpful video. Make sure that you have completed your activity page. That is page 207 and 208. You'll want to use your cubes as you work through those subtraction problems as well. Then you mark your lesson complete. Have a great day.